Good morning and good afternoon, all depending on where you're joining us today. Happy Friday. I hope everyone is having the best day of your lives and celebrating Friday like a boss. The sun is shining, temperatures are warming up, and so is the purchase market. I was super busy this week, so it is definitely here and upon us. I hope everyone has had an amazing week and you've seen your business starting to pick up as well. Love this time of season. Love springtime. Probably because I'm shaking off all the snow and I'm tired of shoveling snow and ice, driving in it, feeling it. I just can't stand that stuff. So that's what has me all jacked up. Anytime the sun comes up after it's been snowing for a while, I am good to go. Welcome to Creating Opportunities. I'm your host, Bill Haga, Executive Loan Officer with Rocket Mortgage Local. I always stress local due to my local pricing being a good 1% to 1.25% lower than our call center. All right, did you hear that one? On a $500,000 purchase, that's over a $5,000 savings for your client just for working directly with me versus our call center. That's huge. Everybody wants to save money. That's a great way to start, right? Talk to me versus that call center. One, you're going to get better service anyway. Two, your customer or saves money, and you know you're always going to receive the communication that you need, right? It's about that simple. And we always close on time or before our closing dates. That's the key. Today's agenda: the market and rates, Rocket and Compass collaboration. Yes, I thought it was a huge thing. I should probably mention it a couple times. So I have it on here again. And one of my favorites, buying a second home. All right, let's start with the market. Um, Man, I think everybody's kind of glued to the TV these days, especially when the news channels. So this is what's going on. So we still have escalating tensions in the Middle East, and that's what's causing oil prices to shoot up over $100 a barrel. Defiant statements from President Trump and Iran's new supreme leader caused a lot of um, friction. It surely didn't ease any market nerves by any means. And like I said, oil is now topping over $100 a barrel. All right. When these things happen, it definitely causes volatility in the market. And here's a perfect example. So yesterday we lost. Now, mind you, this is based off the cost of rates. So yesterday the cost of rates got worse by 0.375%. Okay. On a $500,000 purchase, that's about an $1,800 increase. Yeah. That's why this is a huge impact for all of us. All right. This morning, the cost for rates got better today by 0.125% to 0.25%, depending on the program. And, we almost got back everything that we lost yesterday. So the market is constantly doing this, right? I say the market, should be saying the cost of the rates. Okay. So there's constantly highs and there's lows. There's good news. 9 out of 10 times the good news is going to improve the cost of rates, right? Any bad news is going to create the rates to get worse, the cost of the rates. So these types of disruptions cause all kinds of uncertainty within the market, and like I said, will fluctuate rates more than what we're normally used to seeing, right? Because it's pretty common that the rates are still doing this, on a daily basis, um, but not as much as this, right? It's a little steeper, a lot of more increases, decreases, based off of the added stress within the market. So, like I mentioned last week, I don't like quoting interest rates because there's like seven factors that make up what rate, and the cost of those rates are based on each person's last 2 years' history, right? We're always asking for 2 years of history. That's why. Okay. If that isn't enough, now add in the uncertainty of multiple wars breaking out, right? Iran's, not just attacking our bases, they're attacking our bases in other countries. So they're literally attacking other countries at the same time, which is causing even more volatility within the market. All right. So when that happens, like I said, these rates just in 2 days changed, night and day. So some people will do their business like they quote a certain rate. Okay. I don't like quoting certain rates. I'll put a rate on there, but know that that rate can fluctuate up and down. The cost of that rate could fluctuate up and down, right? That's what changes or raises or lowers the actual rate that you're getting based off the cost. So a lot of stuff happening, right? So at this point in time, anything that's posted rates, right, for all you first time home buyers that are just new to this and looking at some of this information, you got to understand that that's normally based off of you putting 20% down. It's normally you buying the rate down. Okay. A lot of factors that may not even pertain to you. Okay. So, once again, it's important to understand that you're going to get a rate specifically based off of your last 2 years of history. Okay, and how you manage your finances, your credit scores, how much you're putting down, type of property, all these things are those part of that 7 factors. Okay, the Federal Reserve is scheduled to meet next week. I'm looking forward to hearing from them, see what their perspective will be on the war situation. Um, Mind you, anything that they say, everyone's just got them under a microphone, because if any word that they choose to say could slant the market in either direction. Okay. If they're optimistic and they're going to talk about rate cuts still, those things are going to drive the rates down, the cost of the rates down. If it's more about talking about war and the uncertainties, then I can promise you're going to see the cost of rates go up. Okay. So that's just how the market works. All right. Next thing on our agenda was Rocket and Compass collaboration. I spoke on this last week, but I feel like it's big enough to be discussed again. If you haven't heard the news, Rocket's recently collaborated with real estate giant Compass. I'd never heard of Compass until just a few weeks ago. So, mind you, I'm in my business and I'm in my family's business, right? Some of that stuff out there, I can't catch it all, and this is one that I missed. I didn't even know who Compass was. Um, However, Compass has over 200,000 agents under its umbrella, and I didn't know who they were. Shame on me. But I mean, that is huge, right? That's pretty stinking big. So I'm just going to go through the names of the companies that this affects. This won't be all of them. It's just a short list. So if you're on the list, meaning that you work for one of these companies, please reach out. I'd love to talk to you, collaborate, and I'll dig into it a little deeper as I get in here. Um, Anywhere owned, well, let me start here. So there's Compass Legacy, there's Washington Fine Properties, there's Christie's International, there's App Properties, who I know they're pretty big, Ansley, Realty Austin, Ladder and Bloom, Parks Porchlight, Cottenham Chalk, Colorado Home Realty. Anywhere owned brokerage, Coldwell Banker, Concorian, Sotheby's International Realty. Anywhere franchise, Century 21, Caldwell Banker, ERA, Better Homes and Gardens, Concorian affiliates, and Sotheby's International affiliates. If you work for any of these companies, please contact me to unlock this promotion. So we're running a promotion right now that if a client works with any of these agents, plus myself, anyone with Rocket Local um, will benefit from this promotion. Okay, so what we're doing, we're providing up to $6,000 that can be applied to down payment and closing cost as a lender credit, or they can choose a 1.0 temporary rate buy down. Okay, for example, they lock a rate at 5.5, just for example. They will receive a payment based off of 4.5 for their first 12 months. All right, that's pretty big. That's huge. All right, keep in mind these are first time home buyers. You're just now kind of settling into your budget, right? You're trying to figure out your budget. And this first year of having your payments discounted by 1% is huge. Okay, I mean huge. I I work with first time home buyers all the time, right? Have for years. And I still receive random text messages, phone calls from past clients saying, "My God, thank you so much. I appreciate you still to this day. We don't need anything. We're solid. Rates still good because rates are still above where they're at. And they're just enjoying themselves, right? They're enjoying themselves in their own home. They're building their own wealth, and just listening to those conversations just make me smile. Okay, so how can your clients benefit from this collaboration? They gain across, or they, I'm sorry, they gain access to more homes in one place, and sellers have more choices in how their home is going to be marketed. Okay, this creates a more connected experience across real estate and mortgages, including preferred pricing when our clients are working with both of us. Okay, so that's pretty much it. If they're working with both of us, excuse me, they get an opportunity to choose, excuse me, which would be better for them and their benefit, right? It's all about their goals and what they need. If you don't need a down payment or closing costs covered, well, then I'm sure you're chasing the lower interest rate, right? If you're just trying to get into the house and you don't have the closing funds, then I'm sure the up to $6,000 in lender credit is a huge opportunity for you to take advantage of, right? So it just depends on the scenario and what's taking place. But those are two great opportunities for our clients, just simply because they're working with both of us, right? They're going to get preferred pricing. They're going to get my local pricing, which is once again always 1.25 to 1% better than my home office. So let's make sure that we do the right thing and let's help as many people home with these, okay? These programs. Awesome. All right. Now, my favorite thing. I truly love talking about and working up deals for those buying second homes. Okay. Buying a second home can be one of the most exciting opportunities for your families to escape, enjoy time together, and even generate income through short term rentals like Airbnb. Well, Rocket just made second home ownership a lot more attractive, right? So, growing up in the Midwest, parents didn't have much money. Um, they were too busy, chasing me around every weekend at baseball tournaments, all-star tournaments taking place. We played all over the country, and they ended up selling their motorhome because of it. But at the end of the day, as a kid, I always wish that we had, property in Florida or property in South Carolina or California or somewhere on the coast, right? Dang, I'm a Midwestern kid. I don't see anything but snow and cornfields, right? I want to see things. I want to see the ocean. I want to see mountains. I want to see all these things that are out there. And this is a great opportunity and how you can do that with your family, right? I know people who have multiple second homes. I know people who have, just straight investment properties. Okay. And we'll talk about the difference between the two as we get in here. But I think every kid dreams that. If you're able to do that for your kids, I'm here to tell you you're definitely um, creating an atmosphere for your child that one day will be greatly respected. Okay, let's dive in here. All right, so for the second home, we're offering the 1% lower rate even on second home purchases. Okay, how does this apply? It applies to anyone using a conventional loan to purchase a second home. And why does this matter to you and your clients? Second homes come with additional monthly expenses. Okay. This is one of the difference between an investment home and a second home. When it's your second home, that's exactly what it is. It's your second home. Okay. So you just can't rent it out for the entire season, right? It's your second home. All right. And because they aren't used year round, keeping payments low is really critical, right? Okay. Because you got to manage it. All right. People buy second homes for many reasons. One of mine, right here at the top, escaping cold and hot climates, being closer to out of state family, lake homes and summer home getaways, my favorite, or second favorite, I should say. Strategic short term rental opportunities. If there are in areas in the market that are ideal for second homes, having a way to immediately improve affordability gives buyers confidence to act before someone else does, right? So, a second home you can rent out. You just can't claim the income um, based off of debt to income ratios because once again, it's a second home. You're enjoying it for your family. All right. It's where you're spending at least a minimum of 2 weeks of the year at. Okay. We'll get into some of that criteria here in a few minutes. All right. How it works. So, Rocket is now offering a 1.0 temporary buy down on second home purchases. Yes, a full 1% lower interest rate for the first year. Okay. On top of that, Rocket has been pricing second homes and investment properties very aggressively. Okay. Because we understand that this market is really starting to take foothold. All right. Making this an even stronger opportunity for buyers. That's huge. Anytime that we're getting aggressive, that's creating more buying power for you. All right. Why this helps. The first year of a second home ownership is when buyers are establishing their budget, right? They're trying to fit everything in, they're trying to account for the additional expenses. So, a lower initial payment provides breathing room during this time frame. If rates improve, there's a strong opportunity to refinance into a long term lower rate, later on. And really, what you should be cautious of. This applies to only conventional program. Okay. Eligible for second homes only, not jumbo, not investment. So just second homes and conventional. That's it. What defines a second home? There's two key questions. Does the property have vacation like characteristics? Right? Is it on a beach? Is it along the coast? What's going on around it? And then is the home rented less than 180 days per year? Right? Because it's a second home, which means you're going to be staying in this from time to time. Right? So if the answer is yes to vacation use and no to extended rental use, it's likely that it'll qualify for a second home and you'll be eligible for this program. Okay. That's huge. All right. I always talk about we want to partner with purpose, right? So I mention that because I want you to think about your past clients. All right. Those who talked about buying a second home, someone who mentioned that they were interested in possibly buying another home in the future, right? This is where our wheels need to start turning. Pull out your list of clients, past and current, and just go down through your list, put your eyes on their names, and see if that generates anything. Um, if it does, great. Let's reach out to them. If we want to talk to them on a three-way, perfect. I'm always available for three-way calls. So let's start talking to them. Let's get them excited about leaving the cold weather. right? There's a ton of people up here freezing. And I mean, right now, as the temperatures, finally starting to let up and increase, we're starting to see some sun and some warmer days. We haven't forgotten about what just happened, right? I mean, it was just last week. It was 35 degrees last night, so it is still within our brains, and we're still at this point in time considering buying a second home where the weather's warmer, right? So I encourage you to challenge your list, see what kind of opportunities you can come up with. Like I said, feel free to contact me. Let's get a game plan together, and let's have some conversations with your clients. Right? It's all about partnering with purpose. Those who go over and beyond to help you build your portfolio is who you want to do business with for sure. All right, folks, that's all I've got for today. Hope everyone has have a great day, great weekend. I will have my laptop on like always. My cell phone's always on regardless. And let's get your clients verified, approved, and under contract. Good luck, everyone. Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon. Take care.